I'm Beth, and I'm so glad you're here with me for my first ever Get Ready With Me. This is kind of an interesting experience, girls, being here with no makeup on, because once you're of a certain generation, which I am, being about 59 in a couple of weeks, I remember 7th grade hit and I went from no makeup because mom and dad didn't allow me to from 7th grade on, everywhere, anytime I went out, I always had makeup on. For those of you who subscribe, or who were here for my last week's video, I did a full, light chemical peel, but I also had no makeup on and my best fuzzy pajamas. So it gets very casual around here, but I am so glad you're here with me. And I want to preface this by saying that I'm not a makeup artist by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a 50-something woman who, up until about 6 months ago, was really starting to look peaked. I am just, learning and growing and realizing that, I've got to stick around here for hopefully another 30, 40 years. And so I want to look as good as possible while I'm doing it. So I'm learning as we go. But one thing that I think I did do all those years, I didn't do a lot of skincare, but I always did sunblock because I had a Southern grandmother, Harriet Sumner, who always said, honey, wear a hat, you are going to look terrible. But it was just real important to her that I stay out of the sun, and I was one of those embarrassing soccer moms who was sitting under the hat and the umbrella and all of that, but now I think I'm pretty glad I did it. But I've started using this Exuviance sunblock, and it is a plus 50, and it is a mineral sunblock, so it has no chemicals, and I've really noticed that my retin-A irritation has really gone down. One thing I learned is that primer is really, really important as we age, and I have issues with large pores, and I found a fabulous primer that I love. It's the Garnier 5-Second Blur Foundation. Now, I've heard that this may be going out of production, which isn't that typical. When we find a great product, maybe it goes out of production. But I have another product, another pore minimizer foundation that I've heard is really good, and I'm going to be studying that one to see if it would be a good replacement. But I'll go ahead and put this on my skin, and basically I actually wear two primers, so I pretty much concentrate this in the area that I have the large pores, which is the T-zone around the nose, and then I also have some orange peely skin, which is also kind of what it looks like, up here really badly. And I don't know why, but I produced a lot of oil as an adolescent. I had terrible acne. Up until menopause, I was still getting pimples. So that wasn't good. But anyway, there's that primer. And the second primer I've used, and I am using every day, is Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. And this is a green color corrector, and it's like magic to get rid of the red. So here, let me show you how I do that. I just put the green primer primarily where I have the issues. And so kind of around the cheeks, I got that big ugly red spot right there. And then a little bit on the forehead. The chin also gets a lot of redness. So I just put the color correcting foundation or primer kind of where I need it to black out the red. Next I go into my foundation, and I've just started trying a new one, and this is a little sample of it, but it's the Bye Bye Foundation, It Cosmetics, and it calls itself a heavy cover moisturizer, which it seems like a foundation to me, really. What I do is I just kind of put little dots of it all over my face. Boy, that's a big glob. But then I use, in most cases, unless I'm really in a hurry, which I have to admit I will use my fingers, but then I just start buffing it in with the Beauty Blender. This is a fake. I've never used one of the real ones. I think they may be around $18, and I just can't believe that a sponge that's going to wear out, that I would pay that much money for. But you never know, never say never. But anyway, you just buff that all in. But anyway, there's the foundation, and I go a little bit down on my neck. I didn't ever think you were supposed to do that, but I think it does help blend it a little bit better. Now what I do is I go into my concealer. And I actually was using the Tarte Shape Tape, which a lot of people are using, and I really do like that. In fact, I think I'll just go ahead and use that. I kind of switched to the Becca. Becca has a really good one that I'm really enjoying. So I just do that. And I go down a little further because it's also a little bit of a highlighter. And so basically I do that. I've got some redness around my nose that I do, and a little bit on my chin. That may be too much. But I used the large sponge kind of down on my face, like in my chin area. But then I used this little tiny teardrop shaped beauty blender type thing on the rest of my face. Let's see, nose check there. And then kind of get, this kind of helps, this little tiny teardrop one kind of helps you get your concealer up around your eyes. And it's double duty, it's a concealer, but it's also kind of brightening under your eyes a little bit. I think I've got globs there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Once in a while, I'll also use a little concealer brush, but I did not do that this time. Okay, so the next thing I do is I put a little bit of contour. And unlike a lot of the older women or grown-up women here on YouTube, I think you can really overdo contour. I did it, you know, for a few weeks, and I would get out into my workday and I would happen to glance at myself into a mirror maybe 3 or 4 hours in, and I'd realize that I had a huge splotch of brown. So I decided to really back off on the concealer a little bit, or on the contour. Okay, well, here's a little foundation brush. This is the IT foundation brush. And actually, normally I have a different brush, but of course I didn't bring it into the kitchen. But I'm using a little bit of this e.l.f., and I really kind of like this. This is an e.l.f., it's a blusher with a little bit of bronzer underneath, or whatever. And I really, really like that. So then I just kind of dab it in the areas that I think I need a little bit of help. And the idea on this concealer is any place that you do brown makes it recede. And I do it a little bit differently because, as you can tell, I've got kind of a wide face up here. So I take a little bit of that and I kind of whittle in the side of my face like that. And then I just kind of pat it in. And then I do just a little bit down this way on my cheekbone. I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can see that. Just a little bit. I don't go extreme at all. And kind of right along the chin, because our chin gets a little bit saggy along there, and that kind of helps. So anyway, that's how I do that. And so basically I've gotten on all the kind of greasy things. And so what I do next is I take a little bit of this IT by Pores, which I really, really, really like this powder. It's awesome. And I pour a little bit of that into the cap, just a little bit. And this stuff is kind of expensive. I always did CoverGirl and, you know, thought before I spent $4 on a powder, and unfortunately those days are gone. This stuff is a little more expensive than that for sure. But basically what I do is I take actually a large brush. This is an e.l.f. Total Face brush, and I just go ahead and dab that off. Whew, you can see that thing going through there. And then I'm just going to go over my face and do that. I haven't done anything to eyes yet. But anyway, just do that, and then kind of close that up again because that stuff is expensive. And then I didn't show you me putting on my eye primer, but I use on my eyes, one thing I really noticed is as we get older, even our eyelids turn purple and red, and it kind of makes the eyeshadow go on as kind of a strange color. It's not true to color. So I use this Smashbox, and it's called Lid Primer. And it's actually kind of a color corrector. And Smashbox used to be, and I can't remember the name, was it Max Factor? I can't remember. But it was the movie studios used to really use that makeup, because this kind of makeup, they did a lot of color correcting makeups and a lot of really good foundations that look good in the movies. And so they were kind of known for that. And so in terms of color correction, like that green foundation, that I really love that stuff, and that's Smashbox. And then the inside, you kind of tend to get a little bit of blue down in there, so you just kind of use that on the inside too. And I really should have done this before I put the powder on, but I'll go ahead and use the same powder brush that I just used to kind of, it'll still have a little bit of powder on it. Just kind of powder over that area. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, now I like to go in with a little bit of blush. You know, if you don't have anything, just putting blush on just kind of wakes up your face, and I really like that. I don't like to use a huge blush brush though, because I like to be a little more controlled than that. And this is the IT Cosmetic, and they say it's a powder brush, but it's about the size I like to use for a little bit of blush. I'll look in my mirror here. and just come down a little bit, not clear down. I don't think apples of the cheeks is necessarily good for we grown up women. So sort of like, you know, from this point on back is what I do. Just to get a little bit of color on my face. And they say as we become more mature that rather than a pink blush, which I do love pink blushes, I love them, that a little bit more of a peach tone is a good thing. And this is kind of a peachy pink. And I've really found myself really liking this. And it was, you know, very reasonable in price because e.l.f. is. Okay, there's kind of how that works. Now I've still got this little guy there, which I hate. This is like, I don't know, I think it was a huge pimple. I think I was in history class and I remember the pimple. I mean, it was like huge. And who would have known that it would be hanging around? You know, I was maybe, you know, 14 then, and here I am, almost 59 years old, and I'm still dealing with the after effects of that mammoth zit. So anyway, let me try a little bit of this Becca concealer, which is the new concealer that I've really started to like. And I would show you the side, but it doesn't have its name on the side, just a little bit on the bottom. But I was actually just in Ulta, and I just kind of tried it out, and I thought, man, I really do like this. Let's see if we can, you know, that looks pretty good over that little bump. That kind of did help that. And maybe a little bit more of this in the corner. And that's the way makeup is for me. You know, I've got a bunch of makeup around my vanity. And then I carry around with me actually all day in my little makeup bag. In fact, I dump it out in my vanity sink in the morning so that I can see everything. But I kind of use what I need for that day, and it does vary a little bit. I do like that. Okay, that did help. And I am going to powder that because whenever you do concealers or anything that has oil, if you don't powder it, it's like, you know, it's going to melt off your face in no time. So let me find the It Cosmetic Powder. There it is again. I actually have a little tiny e.l.f. under eye powder, and I did not bring it over to the kitchen today to show you, but I really do like it. And I think sometimes I use it just underneath my eyes and use the It powder all over my face, because the e.l.f. one supposedly like minimizes fine lines under the eyes, and I've really noticed that. Okay, and there's a little bit on that red funky thing. So anyway, okay, so I'm all powdered, and let's go into eyes next. And I have, you know, I really go back and forth about matte shadows versus a little bit of sparkle. I have always been a sparkle girl, and so it's really hard for me to go a little more matte. And one of my favorite eyeshadows is this MAC shadow, and it is in the color Sweet Heat. I was going to say Sweat Heat, but it is not Sweat Heat, it is Sweet Heat. And as you can tell, it's got a little bit of a shimmer to it, and I went into MAC, and for those of you who haven't done that, oh my, what a treat. Go in and they will let you play with makeup to your heart's content. But basically what I do, and this is a really, really, really good eyeshadow if you just want to do a one eyeshadow look, because it's one of those that you can put it in the crease and then get a different brush and, you know, put it on the lid, I'm sorry, and then get a different brush and brush it in the crease and then use it on the top, and it has a slightly different look in the crease. It is awesome. Okay, and here is my little e.l.f. eyeshadow brush, and I really like this brush. It is $1, and which is a really good deal, and I have to say I have gone through these because they do tend to break after a while, but for $1, you know, it's no big deal. Okay, so you basically get some product there, tamp it off a little bit, and then on our eyelids, because we're a little more mature, a little more grown up, you don't really want to sweep it. You kind of want to pack it on like this. And as you can see, it kind of has a nice shimmery effect. I just love this. I absolutely love this color. That is really pretty. Okay, so put it all over the lid, which is nice. And then I go ahead and use the same color up below the brow bone and actually in the inner crease too. Oh, that looks so pretty. I love that eyeshadow. It is like my favorite. I've been trying to do a lot of different things because that helps me learn. And yesterday I had like blue and navy blue shadow on, which was very smoky eye and very cool. It was in that Urban Decay, I think it was the #1, but it was great. I did like it. But basically, for every day at work, this is kind of the look that I do most of the time. So we're packing that in on that lid, and then we're doing a little bit in the corner right there, and then we're doing a little bit underneath the eyebrow right there. I always think more is better, which I don't know if it is, but more may just be more, but it makes me feel good. So anyway, okay, that's how that looks so far. Kind of sparkly, which I like. I keep going, of course. Okay, so there's that. And I always keep a little Kleenex here because then I just wipe my brushes off as I go. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is, actually, I did not bring my eyeshadow with me that is my crease color. So hold on just one moment. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Okay. I actually could use the Urban Decay Naked for that second color, but I just happen to be using a lot this Girl Tru Nakeds Nudes, and it's kind of a knockoff for that Urban Decay first palette, palette 1. And it's got this color in it, which I really like, but I have to say, I would always have gone for like this color in the crease. And my eyes always looked heavy and closed in and small. But to me, that seemed like a more dramatic color, and it seemed like how my crease should look, so I'd always go for the dark. But now I'm learning to go more for the mid-tone, like more of a taupey color in there, and I think it looks better. And I'm using this e.l.f. eye crease brush, which is a little tiny pencil brush, which I really, really like this brush, because one thing I've noticed is I used to hardly even have makeup brushes, and I would usually have large makeup brushes, and I had no control over where the product would go. And so I'm just keeping it right in here. And you never want to go below this area. Kind of draw an imaginary line from this part of your eye, clear up to your eyebrow, and you really don't want to go out there. That was another mistake I made, was I'd always have product out here, and so it made my eyes droop. So anyway, I'm just using this little creasy color in there. And really, this is almost like a transition color, not really a dark color. But I don't think it needs to be dark, especially because I'm going to do a dark lipstick, which I found a really cool lipstick, and I'm excited to share it with you. Okay, and then you do this side too. Another thing that YouTube really taught me, which it is fun to be here on YouTube, isn't it, ladies? Because there's so much to learn, and you know, really nice people here, and it's just fun. But anyway, okay, let me look at that. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Just a basic crease. Okay, another thing I really learned though was that it's very, very, very important to blend, because I never used to blend. I would just pack that product on and hope it landed in the right place. And this is a nice blending brush. This is the Pro Crease brush, and I don't know who it's from, but it's just basically a big fluffy brush for blending. And so I just go in here and just blend out the middle there. So, and I think that looks pretty good. It's maybe, could use a little more drama. And if you wanted to use a little more drama, you could use a little dark in this inner triangle here, something like that. But I think since I'm gonna have the dramatic lipstick, I'm gonna leave that alone. The next thing I do is I do some waterlining, which I love waterlining because it keeps you from having to actually line the eye, which can look kind of messy if you're not that good at it. And waterline, it took me a while to figure out what that was actually, but it's actually just going inside the lower or upper lid, and you can tell that this eye is a little bit darker than this eye. And then you do the same thing over here, which is very strange when you think about putting that product right next to your eyeball. It just seems a little odd. And you can waterline the lower too, and I do that sometimes. However, I've gotten a new tip which I really like, which is to use a nude eye pencil. And this one is the Pro Pencil by Anastasia of Beverly Hills. And it's just a little nude pencil. And actually I've got some eyeliner on it, so wipe it off so it looks nude again and not dirty, not muddy. And then you basically take it and you waterline the inside with nude, because I kind of have small eyes. And so that kind of helps open up your eye to put a little bit of that light nude color on the inside. That may be a little extreme. But basically, I was using white because they do white, and that looked maybe a little bit too much to me. So there's that. And then in terms of eyeliner, since I'm kind of an 80s girl, I don't love black liner. Once in a while I do, but I really like a blue liner. And this is a Stila liner in Midnight Blue, which I actually just bought at Ulta. It was one of the ones on sale for half price, which was nice. But basically I take that, and let's see if I can do it. But I do a little bit underneath the eye here. And one thing that I was doing wrong is I would stop my eyeliner right here instead of going up that way. And when you do that, it makes your eyes look like you're kind of, I don't know, it's got like an Asian look to it, that it just kind of makes your eyes point down. So you basically make sure that you go a little bit further and follow the natural curve there of that. There's my husband in the background. So you want to go up right here a little bit, which is good. And I should have brought, I've got a little smudgy cheapy brush that helps smudge that needs to be smudged a little bit. But I use my fingers and smudge that. Another thing that's a nice thing in terms of your eyeshadow, which sometimes helps, and it also helps your eyeliner stay in place, is to take a little bit of your crease color or your accent color, but mostly your crease color. And I'm using a little tiny, this is a little tiny e.l.f. concealer brush, but I think it really works nicely. This size works nicely to soften that blue underneath the eye. And I'm using that same color that I used in the crease. And then you can also take it up with your little tiny brush. You're going to kind of connect the two. Here's your crease. You can intensify that a little bit, but make sure that it connects with what you got going down here. And if you were doing a third eye color, you could do like a little bit of darkness there in the crease. But we're going to do more of a natural, everyday look. So that kind of helps set your eyeliner a little bit. And then the top lacks a little bit of liner too. So I think what I normally do, or no, I don't think, I do know what I normally do, and I grabbed the wrong one. I take a little bit of that blue and I go on the outside of the upper. This is a brand new thing, and it looks kind of strange, like it's not there anymore, which is very odd. So you just do that. And one thing that the waterlining does is it fills in your lashes to where your eyeliner looks better on top, because sometimes if you don't waterline, then even your eyeliner, oh, that's going to be kind of tricky here. Let's see if we can get this. Your eyeliner can have little spaces in it. I don't really do a wing. I used to do that, and I just felt like maybe it looked a little. Now this is really strange. This is that Stila brush, or that Stila eyeliner, and it was like, I just got it, and it's really not doing too well. Oh well, that one may have to go back. Oh well, which that's disappointing to me, because I'd like to go a little bit further into this area. And especially if you're wearing very neutral eyeshadow, a little bit of a color in the liner is a nice thing. And I'm starting to experiment even with brightly colored eyeshadows underneath, which is fun. Okay, the next thing I do is you can use, for your eyebrows, you can use like a little spoolie brush, which I'm misplacing that. I can't find it. Oh, here it is. This is a little spoolie brush, and sometimes I do that. Well, I'll do that real quick. But the main thing I like to do is actually use an old toothbrush. I don't know why I'm showing you the toothbrush, but sometimes between sunblock and creams and the serums we put on our face, especially the serums, which I put my serums on in the morning, I've noticed that if I don't use a toothbrush on my eyebrows, I'll get 3 or 4 hours into the day and I'll see what looks like little pieces of clear plastic clinging to my eyebrows, and it looks terrible. So do that. And I have to say, I have very thick eyebrows. So at this point, I'm not really doing much in terms of color on my eyebrows. So that's a step that I'm not doing at this point. However, I am kind of experimenting. Now on the mascara, Great Lash, or the mascara, the clear mascara is Great Lash, and I use that just to kind of tame these puppies because they are big and a little bit thick, and that keeps them in place. But always wipe the brush off before you put it on, or it'll look like plastic stuff comes off in 2 or 3 hours. You've got to do it pretty gently. Okay, we are to the eyelashes, and I have a wonderful new thing that I absolutely love. And then it opens like this. Basically, once you put your mascara on, you use this little metal comb to go through your mascara to make sure that everything is nice and the hairs are all separated. And I've always used plastic ones in the past, and they do not do what this little puppy does. This is fantastic. So anyway, I'm going to just lightly go through my eyelashes. You know, some people say they don't take the time, but it's like no time. You just do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that's how you do that. And then I have really been liking this CoverGirl. This is CoverGirl Lash Blast Volume. I can't say it. CoverGirl Lash Blast Volume. Okay, say that 3 times. But basically, you use this, and I kind of, you know, wipe it off a little bit. I really like that mascara. This is a good mascara, and I'll put the link below. I used Care Prost, a product called Care Prost, to grow my eyelashes, and it is phenomenal. And you just clean this off after, otherwise you're gonna have to rebuy it, which isn't a good thing. Okay, there we go. Yay, yay, yay. Okay, now it's time for lips. And I have actually used this Revlon Color Stay in Mauve for years and years and years, and I really like it. And I keep, sometimes I'll buy a different lipstick and I'll get a different color, and I always go back to this. And I think the reason is the best way to do your lip liner is to find something that's kind of in the mauve middle tones that would kind of match your lips, because then when you overline and the lipstick comes off, it looks like your lip, not like you've got some red liner there. So basically what I do, and amazingly enough, I used to have a much lower left lip up here. This lip was much lower, and I really, maybe it's still a little bit, no, I think it's pretty good now. But I have another video, which is, I have to say this one is amazing. And please subscribe so you get this video, or go watch it, because it is amazing. If you're losing volume, as we all do as we age in terms of lips, I show you my experience. 30 days is all of doing derma rolling. It really doesn't hurt on your lips, and within 30 days, my lips just evened out and they're pumping up, and it is amazing. I just go in here, and I don't really line outside the lips. I don't have the courage to go outside my natural lip line. So I go look here instead of at you guys, my lovely people out there. And I am so glad you're here, by the way. I'm so glad. Makes me happy. And I hope you'll maybe make a comment if you want, and let me know what videos you'd like to see, because I really want this to be for you guys. For me in part, but also just to have a community of women coming together, you know, to help each other and support each other. That's what social media is all about, is helping us connect. And I really like that. That's a great aspect of this YouTube thing. Okay, so now I've got the lip liner all over my lips. And now I have a brave experiment. This morning I was at Walmart, and I saw this thing, which looked very interesting. I've never bought a hard candy product ever. So we're gonna try this lipstick. And so I did what it said, which was to look inside. And this one is in the color Ambitious, but this is what it looks like inside, which is Wherever Hard Candy. And so I guess it's supposed to be a long wearing lipstick. And this is kind of a cool looking color. Let me look in the mirror again. It's kind of a fuchsia color, which is really good. Uh-oh, got outside of my natural lip line. And so that's kind of how that lip color looks, which is kind of bright, isn't it? I don't know, we'll see. That might be a little too bright, but I have heard that it helps to make lipstick wear longer, to do what we always saw our mothers do, which is to take a Kleenex and to blot it. Actually, I think it may look a little bit better, not so shiny. Normally what I do too, which I'm surprised I did not do this today, I always take a lip plumper, and I have one, but I think it's like been discontinued, so I feel guilty kind of sharing it with you. It was at New York and Company or something, but it's kind of a berry colored lip plumper, and that always feels really good to go over that. In fact, I'm going to run and grab that. I'm not so sure I like the heaviness of this. Let me blot it one more time, and then I'll run and get my lip plumper. Okay, I'm back. Actually, I did not get the one I've been wearing a lot because basically I wear it so much that the label is worn off, and I really think it is discontinued. But I started wearing this Buxom lip plumper, which I really like, and it is in color Berry Bramble. And I really prefer, I think that was too extreme, having the amount of gloss that this lipstick had. Maybe for a night out or something like that, but I think it was a little extreme. So, you know, I blotted that off. And then I put this pinkish fuchsia shade over it. And these kind of tingle a little bit, but in terms of lip plumping, I'm not really sure that the Buxom products do. I really like that New York and Company brand because it really did. But anyway, this is the finished Get Ready With Me. I've got some earrings on, which always earrings help with grown-up women like us to give us a little bit of sparkle. But I am so glad that you are here with me today. It just makes me so happy. And I hope you'll subscribe because I would love to keep sharing these videos with you. I do one at least every week. But I hope you'll subscribe, maybe give me a thumbs up, something like that. But most of all, I hope you will do everything in your power to live happy, to live confident, to realize that the second half can be your best half. Take care until next time.